I've been here at the Port of Dover since first thing this morning, and I'm glad to say that things have got much easier in the past hour or so. Before 6 a.m. there was solid traffic here because, well, bluntly, the French police aux frontières, who check passports before people board ferries and go to Calais and Dunkirk, were having to process every single passport, recording the details for the entry-exit system. At around 9 a.m, the Port of Dover said, sorry, we are going to have to warn you that there's 2.5 hours of wait once you are inside the port area, and you're probably going to have to wait 2 hours before that. Suddenly, soon after that, everything got much easier, and the reason was that the French police decided we cannot allow these queues to build up too much. The town of Dover was getting extremely congested, and so they simply said, okay, we will revert to manual stamping of passports, which they can do in extreme circumstances. The Port of Dover says they are very well prepared for the entry-exit system because about a mile behind me at Western Docks there's an entire processing area designed for handling biometrics. But unfortunately, French IT problems mean this is not working. While it was very difficult for families who could have been waiting for 3-4 hours this morning, the fact that the controls have been lifted and eased mean that for the rest of the bank holiday getaway, the roads will hopefully be smooth and people will be able to board their ferries. Anyone who fails to get onto their booked ferry because of the traffic congestion will be accommodated on the next sailing with their company. It is not like an airport where you can find yourself having to spend hundreds or thousands of pounds on a new flight. Doug Bannister, Chief Executive of the Port of Dover. It is the first day of the bank holiday weekend of the half-term holiday, and people so far this morning have been having a tough time.
That's indeed true, and this is following on from the full introduction of the entry-exit system for the European borders. I have to say, police aux frontières this morning have been fantastic. They turned up with the right number of resources and they've been processing as best they can. However, the parameters that have been laid down now as a part of the process has slowed the processing at the border down.
I was here from before 6 a.m, around about 9:15. Suddenly everything started unlocking. We were in gridlock before that, but now the traffic is flowing relatively normally. What happened?
So there's some mitigations in the event of severe queuing, which allows the border to be processed in a more manual way. And that's what has had to be invoked because the congestion was just so severe through the town. We had some challenges with people not following our travel advice to stick to the main routes, and that congested the town. And ultimately, because we don't allow people direct access to the port from those things, it did tie everything up that we had to unpick a bit. So if I could also just please encourage people to stick to the main routes. It is the fastest way, despite what SatNav says.
A lot of people would say, oh my goodness, the Port of Dover's had years to prepare for this. Why are we seeing problems when surely things could be better organised?
And it's a very good point. So over the last 2 to 3 years, we have reclaimed land from the sea to create more land. We have then installed a £40 million brand new EES facility out in our Western Docks. In that, we placed 84 kiosks to conduct the registration process that allows peak volumes to go through safely and efficiently. And yet, we are prevented from opening that because the technology isn't functioning yet. So what that means is that the EES process that is to be conducted now can only be conducted at the border positions, which for cars is in our Eastern Docks and our ferry terminal, where we have at most 11 open at a time.